Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good. I like that spirit. Okay, now before we proceed with our talk or before we proceed with our program, we start our session with Kitab Al-Fatihah. Okay, Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Allahumma okay. Okay, kelas, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Syukur Allah Subhanahu wa taala give a lot of nikmat to us, and until now we can still live happily with our family, with our friends, even though that we still have our online session with our class, or even all of our program we are using this Zoom meeting. But by hook or by crook, kehidupan mesti diteruskan walaupun berapa banyak halangan yang kita ada. Okay, so I will not take much of time because of today we have a special talk, which is who know what is our topic for this today's session? Siapa tahu? Hari ni kita punya tajuk kita apa?
The future of technology.
Good. The future of artificial intelligence. Can someone tell me what is the meaning of artificial intelligence? Siapa tahu apa maksud artificial intelligence? Okay, good. It's a robot. Lagi? Ada lagi tak yang tahu? Apa maksud artificial intelligence?
Does it have anything to do with coding?
Program kat computer or devices?
Okay, good. Okay, there is an idea, maksudnya awak dah ada dah, okay, yang buat robot, yang ada dalam komputer. Okay, bagus. Is there any ideas about the artificial intelligence? Ada siapa-siapa lagi yang tahu?
Ones and zeros.
Sorry?
Like something like I don't know.
Yes. Okay. So today we will talk about the future of intelligence, and Al-Amin Darul Mustafa bring you a special guest, which is Dr. Aznul Sabri. Dr. Aznul Sabri. Okay, kejap lagi mungkin insya-Allah Dr. Aznul boleh boleh buka kamera ke untuk anak-anak murid. Ya, Dr. Aznul. Dr. Aznul sihat, Dr. Aznul?
Alhamdulillah. Terima kasih banyak Ustaz.
Okay, dekat universiti lagi ke tu?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Aznul. Okay, for your information, my students, Dr. Aznul is one of our Al-Amin Darul Mustafa board members. Okay. And currently, Dr. Aznul is working at Universiti Malaya. Siapa tahu Universiti Malaya dekat mana?
Saya rasa dekat banyak-banyak tempat kot.
Banyak-banyak tempat pula dah. Okay. Dr. Aznul is currently a lecturer.
Boleh.
Okay. Currently is a lecturer at Universiti Malaya. Oh, senior lecturer. Senior lecturer at Universiti Malaya for Department of Artificial Intelligence, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. So we bring you a great lecturer, a great people to explain to you about this kind of artificial intelligence. Kalau nak suruh Ustaz cerita, Ustaz tak pandai. Kalau tak suruh Ustaz tak, itu bukan bidang Ustaz. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Aznul Sabri for give his motivational talk to our students. Make sure anak-anak murid Ustaz semua, make sure all of you, if you have a piece of paper for you to write some notes. Okay. Dipersilakan Dr. Aznul.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ustaz Fikri. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. So you guys can actually hear me well, huh?
Yes.
Yes, we are hearing well.
Yes.
So everybody is still staying at home, huh? Or-
Yeah. Sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes we are going to out. Sometimes
Alright.
in the.
Actually, it's kind of like a new experience for me because normally I teach university students. Okay, so this is like a very new experience for me to be giving like a talk to upper primary students. But I'm very honored to be given this opportunity. Again, thank you very much to Madam Yusra, that master, also teacher Fikri, and I think there was like a female teacher before this that also is part of the event today. So Alhamdulillah, thank you very much, and inshallah I'll try to do my best lah in giving like an overall a high level overview of what artificial intelligence is. Okay, and at any time this session is supposed to be interactive, so if you have any questions, maybe I'm not so sure whether I think you can type, right, in Zoom, you can type your questions, right? Okay, and then from time to time I'll maybe stop and then I'll check with Ustaz Fikri to sometime like maybe read out the questions so that I can answer them verbally. So if I'm correct, I have like around 1 hour, Ustaz.
Yes. Inshallah.
Okay. Okay, so all of you can see my screen, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So introduction to artificial intelligence. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, so initially, Ustaz Fikri started the session by asking all of you your opinion on what artificial intelligence is or what AI is, right? So first of all, let me just like introduce myself. My name is Aznul Khalid Mat Sabri. Okay, Aznul Sabri is like my short name. When you see the title doctor, I'm not exactly a medical doctor. So I got the title doctor by completing my PhD studies. Okay, so how many of you know what is a PhD? So a PhD is like another level of studies. You finish your primary school, you finish your high school, and then you go to your university, and finally you complete different levels lah of what you call
So you finish learning.
Yes. I mean it's like, I think it's like the end lah. Okay, I mean if you want to continue beyond PhD you can, but you won't get anything additional on top of it. So I'm not a medical doctor, that's what I'm saying. I'm a philosophical doctor. Okay, anyways, what is AI? Okay, so we started with like a very broad overview of your ideas of AI, right? So right now I'm trying to give like a more well-guided definition of AI. So AI, artificial intelligence, or in short AI, it started very long ago. Okay, it started back in 1950s. So the definition is that it is a field of study in which it tries to make intelligent machine and program. So I heard just now that someone says about robot, right? Okay, and then a bunch of ones and zeros. So that's the basic idea. You're trying to create or develop another machine that is able to somewhat behave somewhat similar to a human being. So that's the basic concept of AI. It's like you're creating the word artificial tu maksud dia adalah orang kata tidak real lah. Artificial tu maksud dia, the meaning of artificial is palsu. Palsu ni maksudnya buatan. So you're trying to create jenis kepintaran yang buatan. It's not exactly, because for us like human, we use our own brain to think and all that. But when you talk about AI, you're trying to mimic or you're trying to copy how we think, how the human thinks, and then you transfer this ability to a machine. So nanti machine tu pun boleh berbuat something yang orang kata sama macam kita. I'm going to mix a little bit of Malay and English lah during my talk. I hope that is okay. Okay. So first you start with AI. AI is like the big umbrella, the study of making intelligent machines. Okay. And then it's like you have like a sub domain. It's like you have the bigger picture. Later we have a visualization on this. Okay, so you have machine learning. Machine learning is like, how do you program a machine to teach it how to do what we human can do? Okay, so that's the thing, that the only thing that you need to know. And it started like back in 1980. This is like way beyond even you guys were born. I mean, even before I was born. I was born in 1984. So it started in 1980. Okay. And then you have another subdomain, another subfield, which is called deep learning. Deep learning is like a sub-component of machine learning, in which it tries to mimic how the brain functions. Okay, so when you talk about AI, it's very big. It tries to mimic how we go about in our daily life. It's like maybe we have our eyes, right, which is a sensor. So how do human see, and how does we translate this capability to a machine? Macam mana nak bagi machine boleh melihat? Okay, and then we can hear, right? So how can we actually develop like a sensor for the machine so that the machine can interpret what it hears? Okay, and then you have like a machine learning, which is subfield, to teach them based on this different input how the machine can actually interpret the input and then do something what it call useful with it. And then finally, you have like a smaller domain, which is deep learning, which is specifically what it call based on how the brain thinks. So this is quite new. It started in 2010. I think like it's quite recent. I think it's like the last decade. But the main reason that we have like an explosion of technology today is because there have been advanced development in deep learning. So machine has been getting smarter and smarter. So when you look at this, it mimics, what does it look like? This portion of the image. Yeah, it looks like a brain, right? It looks like a brain. So it means that
Technology brain.
yeah, correct. I mean, you guys have seen Iron Man, those kind of movies that tries to mimic. And then in Iron Man, what is the talking what it call robot called? The assistant to Tony Stark. Does anyone know? It's called Jarvis. Correct. Jarvis, right? So Jarvis is an example of an AI technology. It is able to think, and it is able to communicate with Tony Stark and help the Avengers, right? So yeah. So that is an example. Okay. So far, I think you guys are very clear, lah. Okay. So when I mentioned just now, you saw this, right? The bigger umbrella is AI. Okay, it's a program that can sense, reason, act, and adapt. And then you have like another smaller component of AI, which is called machine learning, which is algorithms that are able to improve their performance as they are exposed to more data over time. It's like when you play a video game, right? You are, I mean, I think most of you guys do have access to mobile phones and video game applications. So you notice that you're playing against a machine that is able to like figure out how to play along with you, or try to like make your life hard lah when you're playing the game. But how does it know, right? Because it is able to learn from this what we call the performance. Okay, and then you have like another smaller subset, which is called deep learning, which is a specific technology that tries to mimic how the human brain thinks. Okay. So another history lesson lah. Okay, so back in 1943, there is this guy called Alan Turing. Okay, so he created what you call a Turing test. Okay, so a Turing test is what happened when you try to test whether you're speaking to a machine or to a human. Okay, so the test goes by like you're trying to speak something and you're typing something into a computer. And then at the end of the test, you're trying to guess, okay, am I speaking to a machine or am I speaking to a computer? So if you guess that, okay, you're speaking to a machine, but the answers being provided to you is actually given by a machine. I mean, if you're example, you're guessing that you're talking to a human instead of talking to a machine, it means that the machine has achieved the level of intelligence that has been able to mimic how what we call our human capability is. Okay, and then another set of history is like this novel by Isaac Asimov back in 1950. He published like a bunch of short stories related to iRobot. So I'm going to show here. an example of a chatbot. Okay, so we are so used to seeing one depiction of what you call robot. You saw Terminator, you saw Iron Man, but let's see something else. Okay, so this is what we call a chatbot. Okay. So this is a chatbot, right? Okay, so let me just ask it. Apa khabar? Saya baik. So it's kind of interesting because this chatbot kind of understand Malay. Okay, give me an example. What do you want to ask this chatbot? Anything they want to ask chatbot?
The age.
Okay. How old are you? Okay, see if you can work it out. I was first activated in 2nd January 2003. So what is Cookie's age if it's back in 2003? So
Okay, so right now it's 2010.
18.
Is it a
18,
human?
yeah, okay. Someone said 18. I heard 18. So let me check. Are you 18 years old?
Is it a robot?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm actually talking to a machine. I'm not talking to a computer. I'm not talking to a human here. So you can actually, okay, maybe we can try another harder question.
So fast.
Yeah. Any other question that you want to ask?
What's your favorite food?
What is your favorite food?
Do you even eat food?
I love kebab. Do you like that too?
Machine makan.
Okay.
How about where do you live? Where do you live?
Okay. Where do you live? I'm living in the metaverse. Where are you?
Don't tell where do you live.
Okay, now it is asking us back. Okay, where do we live?
No, don't tell.
Malaysia.
Go to school at ADMS. How often? Every day.
5 times a week.
5 times a week.
Every time a week.
Sorry, I didn't realize you're asking me to pickle it.
Now,
Comes.
now you understand, right? I mean, to a certain degree,
Tengok little gift dia bagi tu.
to a certain degree, it is able to understand. But you can see that when we try to like, what you call probe the machine further, you can see that it started to give you sometimes like not like a really what they call the correct answer lah. Okay, but looking at this, it's quite interesting, right? It means that a machine can actually communicate with you automatically. It can understand you. So that is this is an example.
Like a human.
Yeah, correct, right? It's quite interesting. So this is AI, an example of AI.
What website is this?
Okay. Later on, I will share
Website
this slide.
is chat.cookie.ai. AI. Yes.
But I will share this slide with the teachers, and then you will have access to all the links that I present today. Okay. All right.
Is there someone else other than Cookie?
You can actually Google. You can Google like other example of chatbots. There's a lot of different examples of chatbots. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So another example. Previously, we were talking to what you call a chatbot. Okay. A chatbot. Cookie is an example of a chatbot, a robot that chats with you. But you are
virtual friend.
Yeah. You are mostly like comfortable with the normal example of a robot. So I'm going to show you this video clip of a robot.
Oh, I see the video.
Yeah.
Oh, robot do backflip.
I haven't seen before. A robot doing acrobatics.
Is Siri an AI?
Yeah. Are you able to hear the sound as well?
Exercising.
Yes, we can hear the sound.
Oh, that's good. All right.
It's dancing.
Not dancing.
Cool, right?
I think
Yeah.
it's exercising for itself.
No.
Okay, let me just check the time. Okay. All right. Let's see what else it can do. It was dancing. Now it's able to open a door.
He's taking a walk.
Yeah, right.
Boots.
I think he just relaxing.
Yeah, right.
Someone
So you look at the
stop him
robot.
before it takes
The
over the
best
world.
day of his life.
Oh man, it almost fell.
Bruh.
Bro.
Hey,
what's wrong with it? It's walking.
Oh man,
It's
Get
walking.
out.
somebody help him.
That person's.
Why is lagging?
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's lag. Yeah.
No,
it's
it's
lag.
dancing.
It's a bit lagging to me.
Oh, he can carry anything.
Yeah, but
The person just sitting on a couch looking at the robot.
let the robot help. No, you can't let the robot help. You do it myself.
yeah.
It's amazing.
But I mean, okay,
That's
so the video is quite long. It's around like 7 minutes in terms of the whole duration. But I mean, looking at the video just now, I mean, it gives us an idea, right? It gives us an idea that we normally take for granted what we can do as humans. But looking at the robot just now, it is able to have a sense of balance. It can actually balance itself when it's walking. Because when we walk, we need to be able to make sure that we don't fall, right?
Yeah.
And this is a hard thing to do, because on a human body we have different types of biological mechanism. You have this cochlea, in which you have this fluid in your ear that helps to act as a mechanism to help you balance yourself. How do you transfer this kind of capability to a robot? And then when you walk, you're not simply walking. You have to be able to use your sense of vision. You need to see. You need to be able to see and make sure that you don't bump into something, you don't fall into something, right? And more important than all, you need to have a sense of thinking, because you need to know how fast or how slow should you be walking or moving, right? So, and there is going to be a different type of senses that we need to incorporate into a robot for it to be able to behave like a human being. And we are still far away from creating something like Jarvis, because Jarvis, when you look at Jarvis in Iron Man, it's a very, very independent robot that is able to do the
Jarvis
thinking.
and April.
Right? Yeah, Jarvis in Iron Man, right? So if you guys haven't watched the movie, you can watch it lah, okay? And try to look at
Jarvis
the
ada dalam
capability.
semua episode Iron Man.
Betul. So looking
April kadang-kadang je.
Looking at today's technology, Jarvis is something that we are still actually very far from achieving lah, because we are still at this level where we are able to create a robot that is able to move and all that, but it is yet to reach what you call human-like capability. Yeah. Okay, so that is like the first part of the talk where I try to explain as clear as possible the concept of AI. Okay, which is all the thing that you know is that AI is a program that can sense, can think, which is the reason, and then it can act based on the senses, and most importantly, it can adapt. What is adapt? Do you guys know what is the meaning of adaptation?
Adapt, I think it means like no.
Apakah maksud adapt? Okay. Anyone want to try? What does it mean?
Like they know what to do.
Correct. Adapt means
When you say
you can change. You can change based on the environment. Okay, so meaning to say that the moment because you as a human being, when you when you were first born, you don't like spicy food, right? I think maybe even until now you don't like spicy food,
I
but
like spicy food.
I like
yeah.
spicy food.
Yeah, but you will notice that when you were little, you don't like spicy food because it is something like a new experience. But later on, as you grow older, okay, like what you guys are right now, you guys are like 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, you tend to change, you tend to adapt, right? So AI is something similar, okay, where you have the skill to adapt, to change based on the environment, okay? Now I'm going to go back to the slide, right? Okay. So we started with this big umbrella. Okay, Ustaz Fikri, do we have any questions so far that I haven't answered from the chat interface on Zoom?
Ada lagi.
Tak ada lagi, ya? Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Mungkin nanti dalam 15 minit yang terakhir kita akan buka soalan lah untuk pelajar direct question to you, insyaAllah.
Okay. Another interesting thing here, when you remember just now, right? I mentioned Isaac Asimov, right? He was one of the few people that started with the concept of a robot that is able to think and all that. So when he created the so-called his short stories, he developed these 3 laws of robotics. Okay, the first law is that a robot may not injure a human being, or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. So in other words, dalam bahasa Melayunya, robot ni tak bolehlah nak mencederakan manusia. Ini undang-undang pertama when we create a robot. So let's say maybe like 10 years down the road, you become like an AI scientist, okay? You become like a researcher. When you want to create like your own version of AI, of a robot, this is the law that you need to follow. Robot that you create must not injure a human being. Tak boleh, okay? And then the second law is that a robot must obey.
Military robot?
Yeah, I mean, a medical robot, its function is to heal, right? To assist a doctor. But the function, the first law is that you must not injure a human being. The second law is that the robot, it must obey the orders given by a human being. So maksudnya, when we develop this technology, we must make sure that it is safe for us to use, okay? And it would not conflict with the first law. And then, tapi kita, when we do and develop this technology, at the same time, Isaac Asimov, he stated he needs to be fair as well. So all this while, when you talk about the first and the second law, the robot is as if very much protective on the human being. So he created another law. A robot must protect its own existence. Dia kena menjaga diri dia sendiri as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or the second law. Maksud dia mestilah menjaga diri dia, the robot, selagi tidak bercanggah ataupun tidak, orang kata, berlawanan dengan Undang-Undang 1 dan Undang-Undang 2. So you might see, you might think that this is like trivial ataupun something yang macam mudah, yang simple. But up till today, sehinggalah hari ini, these 3 laws of robotics is still being used, okay? Especially in the field of robotics, okay? When you talk about another subdomain of AI, okay? All right, so we have covered AI, right? The basic concept of AI. We know that AI is a program that can sense, reason, act, and adapt. But then a subdomain of AI is machine learning and deep learning. So the formal definition yang boring lah, yang kalau macam selalu kita pergi belajar kat sekolah, teacher ke apa ke, untuk kita menjawab soalan, we will need to remember the definition. Let's just go through the definition first, okay? So when you talk about the definition of machine learning, is that is a set of algorithm whose performance improve as they are exposed to more data over time. So maybe tak faham pun, you don't understand this concept yet, but don't worry. And then, but the basic concept is you create a machine that is able to learn based on more data. You give it more data, you give it more example, it is able to learn. Okay, and then you have deep learning that mimics human brain. Okay, but what is really machine learning and deep learning? Okay, So when you talk about the difference between machine learning and deep learning, okay, so machine learning ni biasanya when people develop like a specific technology, it involves two separate what we call processes. Satu is feature extraction, maksudnya let's say I want to learn a face recognition engine. Okay, a face recognition engine is like if you guys play Facebook or Instagram, you notice that you use like a face filter, it will be able to detect your face, right? Dia tahu kat mana muka awak bila awak guna this application. So when you talk about that face recognition engine, engine yang boleh mengenal pasti muka tu, the first thing how the machine learn is that it needs to extract. Dia kena mengambil ciri-ciri daripada muka tu. Dia tengok ada mata, ada hidung, ada mulut, barulah dia tahu muka. Okay, and then it will use the characteristic tu, yang feature tu, mata, hidung and mulut tu to check. Oh, this is a human face. So the second part tu is the classification. In this example, you have an input which is a car. So it extracts, okay, this picture, it contains a mirror. It contains a set of wheels. It is slightly roundish. So those are the features. And based on these features, okay, like when we do classification, we know that we are looking at a car because we know the features are, okay, you have two wheels, you have a door, a pair of doors, you have what you call windows and windshields and all that, and then you know it is a car. And then the output will be a car and not a car. So this is what we call a conventional machine learning. But in deep learning, the concept of feature extraction and classification, it is mixed. Okay, don't worry if you don't understand this at this level. Okay, I mean, I'm going to share the slides later with all of you, so you can actually, if you're interested, you can later, go through the slide. But I'm going to give you an example. Okay. Okay, so the second part of machine learning, I mean, when you talk about machine learning, is the concept of supervised learning. Remember when I told you guys before, the concept of learning is you need to be able to teach it by giving it a bunch of examples. So you're giving it an image of ini adalah kereta. So this is a car. So you're teaching this, which is a machine, okay, that this is a car, okay, and then you give it another image, which is not a car, and then you're telling that that image is not a car, okay. So in other words, you have a bunch of input, and then you have this part, which is the engine. And then you are able to let the machine learn from examples that whether you are, I mean, the kind of output that you want. Okay, it's a bit hard to what do you call, to visualize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you guys an example, a real life example. Okay. So this is an example. I mean, later you will have access to this PowerPoint, to this Google slide, and then you can play around with this. Okay. So this is a website developed by Google, but it lets you teach and create your own version of machine learning engine. Okay. So I'm going to create. I mean, when you open this particular tool, there's 3 different projects that is available to you. Whether you want to create an image recognition project, an audio project, or a post project. Let's start with the simplest, which is image project. Okay. Okay, so it's going to use my webcam. Okay, so I need to stop my video for a while. Okay. Okay, so now it's seeing me, right? So I'm hoping I'm looking good this morning. Okay. All right. So hold to record. Okay, I'm moving around so that it gets the picture of my face. Okay. So you see here, it's getting the input from my webcam, and this is an example of the images that it wants to learn. Okay, so these are the images that it wants to learn. Okay, so I'm moving around and all that. Okay, so the first class or the first thing that I want to recognize is an image containing only my face. Okay, and then I'm going to add another class. When you talk about class, okay, so it's just let's change this. Okay, face. Okay. Okay, and then I'm gonna face plus book. So hold record. Okay, I'm holding a book in front of my face. Okay, so now I have 2 different set of images that I want to recognize. One is a completely empty, image just with my face, and the second one is a face with my book. So now I'm going to train my model. So this is where the magic happens, okay, where it's going to like learn the different set of images. Okay, it's from 50 images, all right? Okay, so now you see there is this output at the bottom. So I'm moving my face around, and it gives me the output that in this particular image, in my webcam, it is showing that, okay, it's only face, right? I'm moving around and it's showing this. But then when I'm holding my book, it's able to know that I'm holding a face. I mean, the webcam is capturing my face and the book as well. So when you think of it, it's like magic, right? How many of you think this is cool? Or for you guys, this is like nothing special.
Me.
Okay, but this is what you call machine learning or supervised learning. What you're doing is you're giving an example to the machine, saying that, okay, now it's a bunch of images containing only faces. Okay, and now it's another set of images containing only face with books. And then you're giving a task. You're giving a task to the machine to recognize, given a new image that the machine has never seen before, because as I'm doing this on my webcam, the machine is getting new inputs, right? Images that it has never seen before. So it needs to classify, it needs to check whether it is a face or a face plus book. Okay, so this is an example of supervised learning, right? And you can actually play with this later on using this URL. This is quite cool. Okay, meaning you can create, you can actually add more type of classes that you want. When I say class, it means the different types of images that you want to detect. Okay, and then this is a bit hard actually. This is a bit hard actually. When you talk about supervised learning just now, supervised learning means that you're learning from an example. Okay, so I've given the machine a set of images, and I'm telling the machine that these images, they contain faces. Okay, and then I'm giving the machine another set of images, telling the machine that, okay, these images, they contain face and book. Okay, so it is called supervised. I am telling the machine, this is what you need to learn, and I'm giving it the label as well. So it is similar to me like teaching a machine. Okay, I want the machine to recognize flowers. Okay, so flowers. So I'm giving it a bunch of thousands, millions of images containing flowers, and I'm telling, okay, all of these are flowers. Okay, and then I'm giving another set of images that doesn't contain flowers. Okay, it doesn't contain any flowers at all, and I say that all of these images are not flowers. So whenever I present a new image containing flowers to the machine, then it will see that, oh, this is a flower. So that was the concept behind supervised learning, meaning you're giving the label, you're teaching the machine, and you're letting the machine know what the labels are. But there's sometimes we want to teach the machine, but we don't know what the label is. Okay, so this is another example. Example here, right? Okay, so here it's like you have like a distribution of points. You guys know the concept of coordinates, right? Paxi, the x-axis, the y-axis, and all that, right? So when you look at this, you have like two separate axes, okay? And actually, the machine at the very beginning, it doesn't know how the data points are distributed, okay? But as it goes on, it's able to correctly label that this belongs to the first label and this belongs to the second label. And then if I add more, okay, it is trying to learn right now. and you will see later it will converge. It will be able to optimize itself to know that this portion of the data is going to be one set of data. This is going to be another set of data. This is another set of data. Okay, but it has to go on and on and on and on. But I mean, you can actually play around with this one. Okay, later when you have the time. But the concept is in unsupervised learning, you don't know the labels. So in the example that we had before, for example, right, the one that I showed before, I didn't tell it whether it's a face or it's a face with book. Okay, so that's the what do you call the basic explanation of it. Okay, are you guys okay so far? Are you guys feeling dizzy because there's too much information?
Okay. I feel
Okay,
half and half. I'm like, I understand some
Yeah.
and I don't understand mostly.
Yeah. I think until here it was okay, right? Until here it was okay, but from here to slide 7 to slide 10, it's a bit hard, okay? Because this concept you need to really digest. But don't worry, you'll get access to the slide later, and then you'll be able to explore more, especially given the example that you can play around. Okay, don't worry too much. As long as you have the concept that when you want to teach a machine, you need to give them data. And then when you talk about supervised learning, okay, supervised learning is where you give them labels, okay, meaning the concept of face versus a set of majors with face plus book. Okay, so that is the concept of supervised learning. Okay, now we'll carry on. Okay.
Doctor,
Okay. Yes.
Sorry for interrupt.
Okay.
Maybe we have one question from our students.
Yes.
Okay. The question from Ilham Aufa. Okay. Does animation have anything to do with AI? Animation?
Yes. Actually, yes. Okay, because I mean, when you talk about animation, right? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Previously, the old technique of creating cartoons or animation was like you have this image, and then actually you can do this on your own, right? This is page 1, and then if you want to make this stickman move, orang lidi ni bergerak, what you do is you're moving the robot, you're moving the stickman very slowly. You're moving it like this, and then you have page 3. It's moving its hand further up, right? So the moment that you shift from one page to another, if you move your what they call pages from one to another, you will see that the stickman is moving his hand up, right? But this was conventional, without any AI at all, right? Okay, but now with the advancement of the technology, okay, we can actually use AI to create like a model for a stickman. So we tell the machine how the stickman should behave, okay? And then it's going to be as simple as, so imagine all this is being replaced by a machine learning or an AI model, okay? And then after I have created this model, okay, I don't need to create this, what they call movement manually, okay? I don't have to create a page-to-page movement anymore. I can just tell the robot, okay, I want the stickman to move his hand up. So the AI or the machine will generate these pages automatically. Okay, automatically. I hope that answered your question, maybe, right? Move hand up, right? So this was the old conventional approach, but now you're replacing all this with AI, so that the moment that you move with your hand, I mean, you're telling the machine that create a stickman that moves his hand up, the machine learning will create it automatically. All right. I have more example. Actually, giving this introduction, I mean, it's better to give examples. Okay. So we have the big concept of AI, but one what you call field of AI is computer vision, meaning how the machine learns from what it sees. Okay, so this is a cool game that I found. Okay. Right. Let's draw. I mean, you can play this later with your friend. Okay. Draw flip-flops in under 30 seconds. Okay, so the machine is trying to guess. You know what flip-flops is?
I see circle. Or peanut.
Oh,
I know.
It's flip-flops.
It's flip-flops.
Okay, draw a sheet in under 20 seconds. Like you're playing a game.
I see hat.
Or
pond. Or drill.
I used to play it, but then I
Or
got
camel.
bored.
Or horse.
Yeah.
I see sea
Okay,
turtle.
I'm bad
You're
at
still bored,
drawing.
Or
I think.
Or camouflage.
I'm very bad
bat.
at drawing. Okay.
I see
okay.
wristwatch. Or short monster. Sorry, I couldn't guess
What
it.
is spreadsheet? I don't.
I see bench. Or table. Or pillow. Or jail. Or fence. Oh, I know. It's spreadsheet.
What is spreadsheet?
Okay.
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet is like Excel.
Can I also play this? I never played this before.
I see
I
potato.
don't know what is this
Or
called.
bread.
Sure, the link is
Or
quick draw.
stick.
Just search quick draw.
Or sandwich.
Quick draw. Yeah. Okay. But I want you guys to understand the concept here. So yeah, the concept here is, I'm trying to draw something, and the machine is trying to guess what I'm drawing. Okay, so that is the basic concept of computer vision. Okay, you might be exposed to the concept of a self-driving car, but it starts with something very basic. You need to make sure that the computer is able to understand what it sees. So this is an example of a technology where it teaches the machine is trying to guess whether what you're drawing is something that you're given. Okay, it doesn't know that I'm supposed to draw a pond. Okay, I'm supposed to draw a pond, a kolam. Tapi dia guess lah, dia teka, potato, bread, steak and all that. Okay, so this is an example. I'm going to move faster because I'm almost out of time. Okay, and then you have speech recognition. Okay, speech recognition. Okay, this one is quite. This is just a video. Okay.
Ustaz, lagi sikit. I mean,
Okay, so what was the AI technology being used here? Maybe you can
when you
guess.
speak or make sound, the robot knows what to do.
A game that supports sound.
They make sound, and the robot I don't know.
Correct. I mean, all of you are correct. I mean, basically, you're trying to control the video game, the character on the video game using clapping, using I mean, maybe like verbal cues, like you say up, and then the character will jump and all that. So this is an example of another technique in AI called speech recognition. Okay. So previously we were talking about computer vision, how the computer sees, and this is an application of how the computer hears. And I mean, you have like your mic, right? You speak, and then you're able to communicate with your friends and all that. But just imagine the machine, the computer is able to understand what you're saying, and then it can actually do something with it. Okay, so this is another subfield of AI. Okay, so I can go on and on and on and on, but the application of AI is actually too big. Okay, there's so many things that you can do. You can apply it in healthcare, automobile, finance, gaming, robotics, agriculture. I mean, you've heard of drones, right? These flying mini planes. It is being used to what you call fertilize large plantations, right? So it's being used in agriculture and all that. And then I think most of you are well acquainted with Tesla. Tesla is a company that develops self-driving car, meaning to say that imagine your parents having to drive you to school. So in the future, if everybody use Tesla, then your parent will actually need to still be here, okay, just to monitor the performance of the car, but they don't have to actually press on the pedal and all that. The car will actually drive it.
Someone sleep while sleep in this car while driving.
So correct. So it's kind of like very
yellow thing.
Yeah. Oh, here it's like what the machine sees, it detects. Okay, when we look at things, we automatically understand stuff. So the machine knows, okay, this is a pedestrian, so I must not hit this man. This is another car, so I need to know how fast the car is moving. This is a traffic light. Okay, it's showing red light, so I need to stop. Okay, so to us it comes very naturally, but to a computer, it needs to learn and to understand and to interpret and how to go about this. Yeah, so when you talk about Tesla, it combines a lot of different AI technologies, so many different technologies. Okay, not only computer vision, so it has a bunch of different sensors that are complex. But this is an example. Later on, when you grow up and then you go maybe to your university, okay, and you decide to pursue computer science and maybe like AI, you want to become like a research scientist, okay, to create this kind of technology, then you will understand there are so many different technologies, the building blocks that goes into building this one single driving car. It's quite complex, but it is achievable by us, human lah, okay. So later on, this is much later in life, okay. So when you like maybe reach, even like maybe you're like 15 and 16, okay, so you have enough fundamental knowledge, you want to become an AI expert. So this is just one slide. Okay, maybe 5 years down the road, you're very motivated from this talk today. Okay, what should I learn first for me to become an AI expert? So this is a particular website that can help you. So you want to become a data scientist, machine learning, so all this. But today, my goal is simply to inspire you and to let you know, okay, from all the examples that I show you, AI is cool, right? How many of you guys think AI is cool? Right? Okay. No one has answered me that. But at least for me, I think AI is cool. It is something that is very useful.
AI is cool. We're raising our hands. You can't see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can see. Okay, so on that note, I return the session back to Ustaz Fikri lah, and then maybe if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. All right?
Okay.
Ustaz Fikri?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aznol. Okay, actually I have received a lot of questions, but maybe
okay.
I just pick 2 or 3 questions. May I? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. The question number 1 from Nur Sofia, 6 Hakim. The technology system is already so advanced right now. How advanced will this technology will be in the future, in your opinion?
Wow, this is a very good question. What was the name of the student that asked this question?
Nur Sofia from 6 Hakim. 6 Hakim.
Oh, Nur Sofia. Everybody give a big round of applause for Sofia. Okay. It's a very good question. Okay. For me personally, okay, I think our capacity as human being to develop the technology is actually, is only limited by God lah. Okay, it's only limited by God. But I mean, as long as God permits, inshallah, we can continue to achieve more and more achievement and development in AI. Okay, you might see one day where the kind of what you call jobs that we have today no longer exist. It's like today we have people driving buses, right? Public buses. You have people like becoming Grab drivers and all that. But you may have one day, because the technology of AI and robotics is too advanced, that nobody have to drive anymore. Okay, so it will totally change the whole thing. And you already see, right? Tesla self-driving car. It's just that the adoption of the technology is not that wide yet. But if you ask me what can happen in the future, I wouldn't really know, because Allah is great, Allah Akbar. Okay, Allah keeps on giving us, new inspiration to create new things, and only Allah knows lah. Okay, the limit of our human potential. Okay, I hope that answers your question. It's not really an. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azman. Okay, you have 2 questions. Okay, question number 2. Okay, there is 3 rules, right, of the robotics. Okay, just okay, 3 rules. Okay, so question number 2, what if the robot that we created have a malfunction accidentally that can cause harm to human? That is question number 2. Question number 3, what is the punishment if we broke the rules of the robotic?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
This question is come from Amira Kaisha, also from Sis Hakim.
Okay. Wow, okay. Another big round of applause for Amira. Alhamdulillah. I mean, this is a very, very good set of questions. Okay, actually, let me just share my screen. Okay. This is the kind of question that I normally get from adults, right? When I give this kind of talks, this is actually the kind of question that I get from adults. Okay. Okay, so question number 1 was, okay, what if an AI or a robot malfunctions, or, for the lack of better word, misbehave, like when we do something, we misbehave, right? And then the second question is, who do we blame if the robot malfunctions, right? So this is the 2 question. So first of all, I mean, again, this is the thing when we develop something, because when we develop something, we are not perfect. Okay, we human beings, we are not perfect, and we are prone to creating what we call errors. So we might have put into place, when we develop the AI program, a sequence of rules saying that the robot must not do this, the robot must not do this, the robot must not do this, so that it won't harm the human being or anything that happens in the environment. Okay, but sometimes accidents does happen. Okay, so the moment that thing happens, there is this concept called debugging. Okay, debugging means, you know what a bug is, right? A bug is like something that is a nuisance.
I know bug, but I don't know the.
Okay, a bug is like, I mean, for the lack of better word, bug is like something that annoys you. Okay, it keeps biting you at night and all that. If you go into the woods, okay, it gives you like itches and all that. So when what they call an error happen in a machine or in a program, we try to debug. We try to remove the error. Okay. Okay. So this is what programmer does. They call this action called debugging, which is removing errors in computer programs. Okay. Right. Okay. The second question: who do we blame if the robot malfunctions? So this is actually is an open problem today. Okay. This is why until today, when we talk about self-driving car, right? The technology, I mean, if an accident happens, the person to be blamed is the driver of the self-driving car. So the driver of the self-driving car is the car itself, right? The car itself, because it's driving itself. But there is a set of guidelines when you're given this technology, saying that although the car is driving itself, you need to be responsible. You can't sleep behind the wheels, okay, behind the steering wheels. You can't, you can't ignore the view in front of you while the car is driving itself. So having this kind of guidelines, if the human driver, the human person that is monitoring the self-driving car, and then ended up having an accident, the person to be blamed is the human, okay? So this happened today. So whatever technology that is being put into our hand, I mean, it's like you, okay, even me, okay? If I'm using my phone and I'm constantly using the phone is a technology, but I'm misusing it, because instead of just like being on the phone for like 1 hour a day, okay, I'm using it for like more than an hour a day, and it is actually disturbing me with all the other things that I should do. I should work, I should study and all that. But because I'm misusing the technology, so the person to be blamed is myself, okay? It's myself, because I'm the user of the technology. So who do we blame if the robot malfunction? Who do you think? To answer back this question. The user of the technology, okay? So we must be responsible when we are using new technologies. Whatever technologies that you have today, we need to be responsible, okay? So I hope that answers your question, all right?
Okay. Okay. Actually, we have other questions, Taznul.
Yeah.
But we don't have much time. So, or you, kau macam mana?
I'm okay. I'm still free, I think, until 12. Yeah, so.
Teacher Madiha, macam mana Teacher Madiha? Apa tu? Angguk tu macam mana tu? Angguk tu.
Mungkin boleh terima satu lagi soalan sebelum kita.
Okay, mungkin boleh terima satu lagi soalan. Sebenarnya ada 2 soalan. Okay. Okay, saya gabungkanlah Okay, Kaisha.
Okay.
Kaisha tadi angkat, you raise your hand, and Kaisha want to ask you directly with her microphone.
Nah, boleh.
Okay, silakan Kaisha.
My question is like it's the same question about the first question. I mean the second question, but it's like the one who's gonna be blamed is the user, right? But what if the user already use it, like use the technology properly, but then the technology malfunction, maybe because the problem is from the creator, then the one who is to blame is the creator.
Correct. Okay, so I mean, yeah, as I told you, I mean, this is an open problem, but let me share with you an example. Okay, so this again is a very good question. I don't know, you guys at AADMS, I don't know what kind of food that you guys eat, but you guys are able to think very well and provide very, very good questions. Okay, so just share. Okay. Okay, so this is again an example related to the what you call the self-driving car. So imagine you're behind the wheels. Okay. So this is your wheel, and then this is your car, and then you have your windshield, right? And this is your car. Okay, and this is your seat. Okay, I'm in America because Tesla is mostly in America, so that's why I'm left-handed. Okay, so the way that Tesla works is you have like a camera here, okay, that sees what happens in front. Okay, happens in front. Okay, so it has like.
Boleh saya cakap sekejap?
Boleh.
Dekat Tesla-nya dia ada 2 jenis. Kalau contoh kalau kamera di block, dia pakai ada sensor macam secret sensor, tapi tak tahu dekat mana.
Betul. So maybe it has like a distance sensor, something like this. So this is what you call a vision sensor. A vision sensor detects it's a camera lah, okay? And then you have like a distance sensor. Distance sensor, it detects like the proximity. So in case like you're very near to the car in front of you, the car will automatically stop. Okay, so what you're saying is like a distance sensor. So let me just type that out in case you're interested. So you have vision sensor, and then you have distance sensor. So this one detects what you call visual input. Okay, this one detects what you call proximity. Okay, proximity means how near you are. Okay. Okay, but okay, in the case back to your friend's question just now, Kaisha, was it? I can't remember the name. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Kaisha. So you imagine again that you have that car here, okay, and then you have the camera here. So an accident happened involving a Tesla car. And the accident happened was because there was like, it was a very sunny day. And due to like the sun being very bright that day, okay, the view in front of it it was like mostly white lah, okay, because you know, right, it's the concept is called overexposure. So when the image is directly exposed to the sun, the whole thing becomes very white. So the robot the machine, the camera cannot sense very well what's happening inside. Okay. And then what happened was the car had an accident and hit into a tree. Okay. So this is an example of AI failure. I can't remember in that case whether it involves any fatality or not, lah. Okay, whether one person died or anything, I can't remember. But in this case, Tesla as the company was sued, disaman. Dia disaman kerana the technology being put into the car was not perfect, and it created this accident. Okay, because of the ability of the machine is not able to distinguish, differentiate between a bright signal with the supposed to be what is supposed to see lah. Okay, but Tesla was sued. So the context is, okay, ethics in AI. It's like similar, when you go to school, you have to maintain certain level of ethics. Cara nak bertanya dengan cikgu, you kena menghormati cikgu and all that. Okay, so when you want to go to the restroom, you have to ask for permission. So there is a domain which we call ethics in AI that we discuss all these problems, whether the problem arises from the creator of the AI engine, or problem arises from the user of the AI engine. Okay, and there are a lot more issues lah. Sometimes maybe it's not caused by the AI engine and it's not caused by the user of the AI engine. It's just something that is totally different. So technology evolves, and we are still in the research area. We are still trying to solve this issue lah. Okay, and I'm hoping, Kaisha, that maybe one day you can join me and become an AI researcher, because you ask a very good question, and maybe when you develop this technology, you can be one of the person that discuss these things more in detail. Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I can see some of you really like and still curious about this technology. Okay, then study hard, doing well in your studies, and meet Dr. Aznul at University Malaya. You can ask him directly all the questions. Okay. Okay. I think that's all from this session. Just now, okay, a little bit. Just now, I like when Dr. Aznul said robots have their own sense of balancing, and Dr. Aznul related to our body, which the fluids in our ears control our body to keep the balance. And it is clearly show that how great the technologies of Allah that created human. Even Allah said in the Al-Quran in Surah At-Tin, laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani taqwim. Means that we have certainly created man in the best of stature, best creation. Dr. Aznul really opened up our minds to see the great things, the great invention nowadays, also related to our God, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Okay, good. Okay, I think do you have any questions? Ni kalau saya buka ni ada soalan lagi ni, tapi masa tak mengizinkan. Okay, insyaAllah maybe after this, Teacher Madihah will set up or have our 2.0 program this time, 2.0 insyaAllah. Okay, on the behalf of Al-Amin Darul Mustafa School, we would like to thanks to Dr. Aznul for exposing us about these new things that maybe some of us never heard before, which is this artificial intelligence. Thank you so much, Dr. Aznul, for giving us this precious time and these new ideas to our students. Thank you so much, Dr. Aznul. And insyaAllah, dia minta maaf, Dr. Aznul. Ustaz, sorry for asking too much question. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Aznul, for having this kind of program with us. InsyaAllah, we will meet after this, maybe face to face lah. Kita buat program dekat sekolah ke, insyaAllah. Kalau Zoom ni mungkin kita banyak kekangan-kekangan kan. Yelah, mungkin tahun depan, Izzah. Mungkin tahun depan, insyaAllah. Mungkin tahun depan. Okay. Announcement. Before I get announcement, okay. All of the students will have 20 minutes of recess. Awak akan masuk semula kelas pada pukul 12.10. Okay, kami akan bagi rehat 12.10, awak masuk kelas semula Okay, insyaAllah. Okay, awak boleh pergi rehat. Okay, I think that's all from me. We end our session.
Ustaz, maksudnya kelas ni sambung ke?
Tak. Awak boleh keluar dulu. Kejap lagi 12.10 jangan masuk kelas ni pula. Dr. Aznul ada kelas lain pula tu. Okay, awak masuk kelas masing-masing.
Oh, yang 1, 2 dengan 3.
Ya, masuk macam biasa. Lah, kesian pula saya baca soalan Dr. Aznul. Ustaz, tahun depan primary 6 dah tak ada dah. Aduh, macam mana ni? Tak apa. Awak masuk Universiti Malaya nanti. Tu Dr. Aznul dah jemput dah tu untuk menjadi assistant researcher tu. InsyaAllah. Okay. InsyaAllah. Okay. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wal as innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa amilus solihati wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Thank you so much, Dr. Aznul.
Ustaz,
Thank you so much.
masuk kelas balik pukul berapa?
Okay. Pukul 12.10 sayang. 12.10. Okay,
saya terima kasih banyak Ustaz.
Okay, sama. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih banyak semua. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Hai semua. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Salam.